Hello, I am Pastor Matthew Verhoeg, and today we're going to look at Luke chapter 18, verses 1 to 8, as always, in 3 minutes. The parable of the unrighteous judge. This parable is simply about a judge who was, unrighteous. He neither feared God nor man, and a widow who keeps coming to him, asking for him to grant her justice. Now, perhaps this is an inheritance dispute. For a while, the judge refuses her, says, no, but she just keeps coming and asking until the day he does a little self-reflection. Because this widow keeps bothering me, I will give her justice so that she will not beat me down by her continual coming. Now, in this, we see the need for persistence in prayer. As always, when we read these parables, we must not misunderstand them as allegories. Jesus' point is not that God is like the unrighteous judge, that he needs to be moved by persistence, but he's using a common rabbinical technique in arguing from the lesser to the greater. If even this unrighteous judge is moved by the persistence of the widow, how much more is your Father in heaven, who is perfectly righteous, moved by the prayers of his people? Prayer is a marathon and not a sprint. And we see this main point in the first verse of the text. And he told them a parable to the effect that they ought always to pray and not lose heart. Prayer is a marathon. Don't be discouraged when you pray and nothing happens right away, for it's a marathon. You should be praying more and more. Secondly, we see something even deeper here. And the Lord said, "Hear what the unrighteous judge says. And will not God give justice to his elect who cry to him day and night?" Now, crying out day and night is not merely asking for travel mercies and good health, but Jesus is pointing to the fact that our prayers should be centered around the perfect justice of God's kingdom in Christ's return. For in the next verse, he speaks directly about this and says, "I tell you, he will give justice to them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?" It might seem odd that Jesus would speak of the Son of Man's return in this parable about prayer, but it makes sense when you think about that our prayers should be focused on the coming of God's kingdom. We also see him talk about faith here. Will he find faith on earth? And the switch from speaking about faith to prayer is natural, for what is prayer except our faith expressed in words to God? The question is, will people be faithful in praying for Jesus' return all the way to the end, or will they lose heart and give up? Now, for us, we should look to the example of this persistent widow to persevere in prayer as a marathon and not a sprint, and to pray as God taught us to pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.